I guess the meeting of the Springdale Civil Service Commission will come to order. I guess we'll do roll call.
Bob Downham.
Here.
Charles Farmer.
Here.
Danny McGinley.
Here.
Dave Chapman. Eric Harris.
Eric's not here, I guess.
Absent.
Okay. We need the approval of the minutes. Did you bring those with you, Denise?
I did.
Okay. I didn't know everybody. I would have come to the meeting if I'd known everybody was going to be there. So Danny, I guess if you don't mind, go down to the city council office and see Denise and sign those.
One minor problem with that. I'm in Miramar Beach, Florida. And
Oh, you're still messing around down there, huh?
Well, I'm doing wrist rehab.
Okay, so Denise, is there a timeline we have to have that signed? Or?
No, but you need to approve them first.
Right, okay. All right, so I need a motion to approve those minutes.
I move that we approve the minutes from the last Civil Service Commission meeting.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 I'll get them
Approved.
signed later.
You say something, Denise,
I'll get them signed later when Danny gets back in
Okay.
town.
when he gets back? Okay.
Yeah, that'll be fine.
Okay, Chief Peters?
Yes, sir. Thank you for agreeing to meet. I guess the first item that, if we can address, is the rescheduling of our entry-level test. I guess we ended up trying to schedule it previously, and we have some conflicts. Currently, the written test is scheduled for January the 16th, with the Civil Service Commission interviews on January the 19th. I believe that conflicts with other business that the Civil Service has. I have some other dates in mind, if the council wants to consider those. I'd like to close the application process on January the 22nd, then have the written test on January the 30th, which is a Saturday, and then have the civil service interviews February the 1st on a Monday.
Is that a holiday?
I hope not. I've double-checked, and there's no holidays that I can find.
Because that's why we had it Tuesday
Yeah.
on January the 19th. Okay, so Chief Irwin, for some reason, we don't have your fire testing on this schedule. Chief Irwin, you hear me?
Yeah, sorry, I was muted. January the 13th is the scheduled interview date for the Civil Service Commission.
I wonder why that's not on there. So, okay, so we need to,
That was one that you all approved right at the first of the year when we tried to do the whole year schedule.
yeah, I know it, but I didn't know when it was, but I remember we approved it. So tell me again when that is?
January the 13th.
That's a Wednesday.
Yes, sir.
That's fire department entry-level interviews, right?
Interviews, correct.
So, Charles or Dave, could one of you take that up to Rose when we're finished to, I need one of you to volunteer to take that up to Rose to add that and change this on that one date there?
I'll let her know.
Okay. All right. So now let's get back to Chief Peters. So you're saying change that January 16th and January 19th to January the 22nd? I'm sorry.
January 3rd.
To January the 30th for testing and February 1st for interviews. Is that correct, Chief?
That's correct.
Okay. Which one of you guys are going to volunteer to put this on the? Charles? Dave? Hello?
But
What are we doing?
I don't know. Do you want me to just tell Rose all this?
Can you not hear me?
No. They haven't
Yeah, we
voted
voted on the.
Can you not hear me?
We still talking about the minutes?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, Charles, can you take that up to Rose when we finish?
I will volunteer to do whatever is required.
Okay.
Whatever.
All right, so we need a motion to move the police testing to January the 30th and the police interviews to February 1st.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, that's approved. All right. Now, okay, so Chief Peters, is that it from you?
No, sir. I'd like to ask the commission to set a promotion date with source material and process. I sent out a memo yesterday. I don't know if you've had time to look it over, but I'll be happy to go over it and answer any questions. Do you want me to go ahead and start on that?
Yes, sir, please.
So we have 7 supervisors in the police department that are eligible to retire, and we have more coming up in the coming year. I don't know that any of them will leave, but I will tell you that it's my intention. You're aware that we changed our shift configuration from an 8-hour shift to a 12-hour shift for COVID. That's been very popular, and it's actually been more efficient for the police department's operations. I intend to leave that configuration in place. Now we have a need for a 4th shift lieutenant. I had to pull our administrative lieutenant to fill that role temporarily. I'm going to ask the city council during budget to convert a sergeant position, which we are now over with this, to a lieutenant position. The money is very negligible, but it is going to require a promotion. And with the possibility of people leaving and retiring, I think we need to get a list for sergeant and lieutenant, just so we have a ready list of promotions if we have any vacancies. I have spoken with numerous agencies in the area about their processes. I've also we've had relationships with multiple different companies, and we've come up with a plan. I say this is we've come up with a plan, and what we would like to do is we would like to have Stenard and Associates, a company we've had a long relationship with, build out a custom written test. We've not done this before. We've normally used their off-the-shelf tests, but this one is, to me, much more applicable. It will use our department's materials, our policy manuals, the civil service manual, city council manual, other things that's more relevant, our state statutes, and so I would like to propose that that's a phase 1 of the promotion process for sergeant and lieutenant. Phase 2 would be an assessment center. Assessment centers are, I believe that they're probably the best way to go about doing testing, but they're very time-consuming, very labor-intensive. I've worked with a company called PAS Consulting to come up with a plan for this. They've given us a very good price. They want to get into this market. The closest agency to us that they're in right now is Fort Smith. Fort Smith is very high on them, said it's the best company they've ever worked with as far as this process, and they do assessment centers for all of their testing. The assessment center is a process that we need to limit our candidate pool because even with a small candidate pool, it is still a 3 to 4 day process. So what agencies do is they use the written test to reduce the numbers down to a manageable level. And I would propose that we schedule that written test, and we have obviously a 70% pass rate, but then we only accept the top 15 candidate scores for both ranks. That way we have a manageable number of a maximum of 30 candidates that we have to deal with for the assessment center. Assessment centers take a while to build out. They have to do surveys in the department. They have to review our job descriptions. It's a pretty entailed process. So they would be booking us out to March because it just takes a while to do this. So I would ask that we schedule the assessment center for March the 15th of 2021. Then we would back up to the week of February the 22nd for the written test to reduce those numbers and to have a more manageable pool. I would also,
Wait, 2021?
yes. It's what, 4 months?
Oh, gosh, my brain. Okay, sorry. Already 21?
Well,
Sorry.
It is a long time out, and I was anticipating this going faster, but when you do a process like this, it just takes a little bit of time. I would recommend that we use the written test for 40% of the overall score, and the assessment center process for the other 60% of the overall score. I've listed the source material here that I would recommend that we use for this. Both the company for the written test and the assessment center feels like this is a really good, this is plenty of information for them to put together a really good test. It would be our newly approved Police Department Policy Manual, the City of Springdale's Personnel Manual, the Civil Service Manual, Arkansas Criminal Law and Traffic Law, and the Rules of Criminal Procedure, and the President's Task Force on 21st Century Policing. That would alleviate any issues with putting a burden on the officers to have to purchase a bunch of expensive textbooks, or the department to have to purchase those textbooks. All of this information is readily available and free to everyone. On our last promotion process, we gave a points for longevity, for seniority. And it's not much, but I think it worked out well. It was very popular. I spoke with the FOP and our command staff, and they agreed that was actually a good process. And I have recommended that we go with the exact same process with anyone with 10 to 15 years of experience would get 1 point. For 15 to 20 years would get 2 points, and 20 plus years would get 3 points. When we did this the last time, it only affected one candidate. So it's not going to give a huge advantage, but it does, when you have two people, one with 5 years and one with 15, it does give some benefit to the guy that's been here a long time.
Got it. Okay.
I think that's my proposal, and if I'd be happy to answer any questions on any of that.
Yeah, Chief, when you say week of February 22, does that mean starting on February 22?
So that is the written test. That will be 1 day, but this is so far out that I'm going to have to find a facility. We're going to be in the middle of a building move, so, yes, sir.
I cannot hear at the table. So somebody,
Put your mic down.
who asked you a question there? Hello?
Here we go.
Commissioner Chapman asked me about the week of February the 21st, if that would be, I believe your question was if it would be 1 day or if we would be doing it multiple days. That is a 1 day process, but I thought if we left the whole week open, I can notify you of the day as we work out the arrangements for a location to do that.
That sounds good to me. Not the 22nd, but whenever you let us know. Okay.
If you wanted me to get into the week of March the 15th, that's actually going to be probably a 4 day process. We have to find a location. I don't know that we'll be in our new building, but we may be. I'm actually thinking that the best location may be the Jones Center, if I can work out an arrangement with them to allow us to use that facility.
So can you give me like a 3-minute synopsis of exactly what you're doing with that?
Yes. So an assessment center, this company is going to come in and do a validation study of critical tasks. They're going to survey our incumbents in those positions, captains, lieutenants, and sergeants, and say, what do you do on a daily basis? This is your job description. What's the most critical tasks you do? And then they're going to create scenarios. And they're going to work with me on these scenarios about what the department also feels is the most critical tasks. It could be role-playing, where say you have a citizen come in and file a complaint against an officer. They'll have role players there, and they'll have subject matter experts watching this process to evaluate how the candidates react to that situation. It could be a structured board interview. It could be there's probably a dozen different scenarios that they would bring to us and say, pick the 3 that would be most relevant for the rank of sergeant, and then pick the 3 that would be most relevant for the rank of lieutenant in your agency. And it could be a wide range of things, but they're all going to be hands-on. They won't be a written test. They'll be things that the candidate has to perform and be evaluated on. So that's kind of a short version of it. We've done this in the past, but it's been about 15-plus years ago, and some of our senior command staff have experienced this as candidates, and all of us have traveled to agencies over the last few years and been subject matter experts and assessors in this, and we've all come back with an opinion that it's a really good process. It's very thorough.
Sounds good. Now, how long does this take per person?
So I would say an exercise would probably take approximately 15 minutes. That's a rough guess. They have, so they don't really know what they're getting into. They have an idea, and they're given a study guide. They're given a list of possibilities. When they arrive at the assessment center, they're put in a holding room, and they're given the exercise, and they're given approximately 15 minutes to prepare. Say the exercise is a public speech to a civic organization. We have a lieutenant candidate that we want to send to Rotary. So they're going to be given a synopsis of that, and they're going to give in 15 or 20 minutes to prepare for that, and then they're going to walk in and give it and be graded on that. So that each candidate, it's probably 30 minutes, but you have simultaneous things going on, and then they have to do 3 different ones, and then when you have the 2 ranks, it's 6. That's why it takes 3 or 4 days.
Okay, wait a minute. So I'm a little bit. Okay, so let's say you have one person.
Yes.
So how many different scenarios are you going to have that one person?
3.
Okay, so 3, and each one of those. So each one of those were 15 minutes, and each one of those had 15 minutes to prepare.
Roughly.
Okay.
They haven't been built out yet, and we haven't come to a determination, but that would be an average, yes.
That sounds great to me. I don't know about you guys, but so anybody? Well, I guess we need a motion to approve this.
I think Ernest has a question.
It's just
Okay, Ernest.
It's just a wording question. Since this is a new test, a written test, I'm not suggesting that this might happen, but what if you have less than 15, we don't know how this new test is going to grade out. What if you have less than 15 score above 70?
I think that's fine. I think that if we set the cutoff at 15 and we only have 10, I think that's okay, because I'm going to be disappointed if we don't have a lot of people score over 70. They should know our policies.
I agree.
This isn't a textbook that they have to go buy off of Amazon. They should know our policies.
I just wanted to make sure it was clear if that, since it's a new test, you don't know how it's going to come out, so.
Yeah, we don't.
Well, I would make the motion that everything on this email that the chief sent yesterday would be approved by the commission.
I second it.
Okay, any further discussion? Charles?
Nope.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So, Chief, now what would be our involvement in this?
I'm working with both of these companies, and they have sent me a huge amount of information to respond to. And one of the things that I noticed right off is who is going to oversee in these processes. And it can be a commissioner, it can be HR, or it can be a police administrator. If one of you guys are available for these, that would be great. You're welcome to participate in all of them, be there to oversee it. It would be kind of nice if that was the case for HR and get the police department out of this, because part of the whole purpose of this is that we won't be involved, so that there won't be any ability to claim any type of a bias.
Gotcha. Commissioners, what's your take on this? What do you think about being there?
In the past, we've taken shifts in being there. For the fire department, I think we would take different pieces. I don't know how that works. If different commissioners could be a part in different parts of the process. I don't know if that's a problem for the testing and the validity of the test or not if it has an effect. I guess I'd ask Ernest what he thought about it, but
No, I mean, monitoring's not going to affect one way or the other, I wouldn't think.
I agree with that.
well, then you would not classify our role as supervisory, but monitoring. That's a better word, right?
Just monitoring, yes.
Yeah.
I've always been a proponent that actually, these guys know more about what they're doing than we do when it gets to these upper level positions. I feel like our main, as a commission, our main deal is monitoring who we decide to let in, along with everyone else, and then turning it over to them as far as working things out. Now, anytime that someone is needed for something, any of us will be glad to go, but I don't think we need to monitor a Stannard or PAS. They know what they're doing.
Well,
Well, I don't think the monitoring would be for that purpose, Dave. I think it would be for the purpose of, number one, for us to know what's going on, and number two, to make sure if there was a complaint that one of us would be there to see what the complaint might be. I don't think the job would be for us to make sure they're doing their testing properly.
Okay,
I
but-
think it would just be as a monitor, like you would do a monitor for in the high school, or something. So,
Yeah.
the only reason
Is that
the only
clear,
reason I asked it was, can different commissioners be in different functions of the monitoring? In some tests, if you're in one piece, you've got to be in all pieces, right? And so that was my only question, is so that did one person have to go all the way through, or can it be divided among commissioners for, the ability to not have to be there for 4 days, where you could split it up amongst all members of the commission?
exactly.
I believe it would be fine to split it up and have you guys, and then whatever part of it you want, but let me work with these companies. This is a 4-month process.
Yeah.
The only thing I could think of is that we, obviously would have to make sure it's not disruptive to the scenario, and that we put you in a position to where the candidate's not standing there staring at you in the face being intimidated. I think we can work all of that out. I don't see any issues with any of that.
Well, early on, we
Well,
were
that's
a part of
good,
one of
Adam.
these. Early on, we were part of one of these, and there was a woman who literally wanted to chain you to your chair. Ernest knows who I'm talking about. And so, you can't, oh, look, I've embarrassed our city attorney, but you couldn't leave. You couldn't go to the bathroom, and that's caused me to ask the question.
I don't anticipate any issues.
Well, I mean,
if
you
we
did bring up a
monitor,
good point as far as intimidating somebody. I'm sure as heck wouldn't want any of us to do that and mess up the testing,
Well,
at all.
I probably shouldn't have said that. I'm just anticipating things that I don't really think I'm not concerned about. We can set those rooms up to work great for us. We can have observation areas. I think that we can make this work to where y'all will be very comfortable.
Okay. Well, I think that's something we could, like you said, the more you get into it, the more, and I'm sorry this meeting has lasted longer than I've intended, but this is something pretty new. So, so I think that's something we can wait on to make a decision on that after you find more information, correct?
Yes. And
Okay.
Commissioner Farmer, to your point, I was involved in those previous extra assessment centers. This is going to be a little different. We designed those and ran those. We're contracting and hands-off.
Yeah.
So I feel really good about this process. The other process, I went to some to learn how companies did it, and then we came back and did it ourselves. And that was a lot of work and very difficult. And I'm a lot more excited about saying, if you got a challenge to this, we paid that company to run it, go challenge them.
Chief, you remember what I'm talking about? It was over here where we had the tests over there where
Blair
they've got
Street.
Parks and Rec now.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I had to seek counseling after that, and, and so I'm just saying, just putting it out there.
If you all will remember, when we first started our assessment process with the outside company, that was very similar to what we did. We allowed you guys in there to monitor. And after about the first one or two times, you guys just said, you guys do it, and you don't even do that anymore. So
Right.
just to kind of fill you in on some history of how we did it.
Well, I think also though, Chief Irwin, that kind of, by doing it the one or two times, that let us know how the process was. And once we felt comfortable with that, then I
Correct.
personally don't see a need to do it either, So maybe that's what we might do, Chief. But anyway, let's talk about that later. All right, so
My fault.
Chief Peters, anything else?
No, sir, I appreciate the commission's time, and thank you.
And Chief Irwin, do we have you, we've got you straightened out on your testing. Anything else, Chief Irwin?
No, sir, nothing.
Okay. All right, I don't think there's any old business. Commissioners, you have anything?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Ernest, you have anything to
No, sir.
chew us out about?
No, sir.
Ernest?
No, sir. I don't think.
I didn't
you-
hear
I don't
an
think you
answer
can
there.
hear me, but I said no.
Did the commission vote on that?
They did.
They did? Okay.
Okay. Well, if there's nothing new, additional, I guess we can adjourn, gentlemen and lady.
Thank you.
All right, meeting adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thank you all.